Hey, what's up? It's gonna be a bit of a different video today. I've been loosely following the Keemstar / H3H3 controversy lately, and I just have a few things I wanted to say about the whole thing. Many people seem to be understandably very angry and riled up in both directions of the debate, and I want to make it very clear from the beginning that this video is not about taking sides or talking about who's right or wrong and all that. First of all, I don't know enough to make any judgments, and also I generally try to avoid dividing things, or especially people, in good and bad, since that very often leads to unnecessarily black and white thinking. I want to say many people also do remain calm and stay positive and send a lot of love towards people they feel have been treated unfairly, which is awesome. But I think it's a very common reaction to get that anger, get riled up against a person who's done something very wrong in your eyes or in the public opinion. And that's what I wanted to talk about. So say there's a person who you think has done something very wrong or selfish or petty or even illegal. Maybe they've done things like that for a long time and you've kind of fed up with them. Maybe you're thinking like, how is it possible for this person to do these things over and over? Like, do they not realize the extent of the suffering they are causing, etc.? So first of all, in a situation like that, it's always important to remember that we might not know the entire story. But let's assume in this hypothetical example that we do know the entire story, and it really seems like this person is just behaving very badly towards other people. How I see it is, some people have had their consciousness taken over and dragged into this darkness by the kind of ego that thinks that the world is a battlefield and that you always have to fight to get by. You have to confront and defend and attack socially to survive and to get wherever the ego wants to go. And that mentality obviously gets a lot of people around that person very angry, and some of them start to confront that person and challenge their accusations, and all of a sudden you have this very heated debate between two camps. And sadly, what often seems to happen is that people on both sides get dragged onto the same dark battlefield of the egos. You know, even if one side was more right than the other by the lens of some general public opinion, what's happening on that battlefield is that both sides are operating on the same egoic working principles, which does no good for anyone, mentally speaking. We all should strive to not get angry, to not get riled up when you think someone does something really bad. I think in those kind of situations it's critically important to practice very attentive awareness of your own thoughts and emotions, to make sure that you don't get dragged into the darkness. To quote some wise person somewhere, the best way to defeat darkness is to bring it into the light. You can't fight mental darkness. You'll just end up in the darkness yourself. It doesn't matter if your arguments are right or not. They can't prevent the negativity from poisoning your consciousness. The only thing that can prevent it is the alert presence and awareness of your inner workings. We all have those wirings in the lizard part of our brains that get all those negative emotions, get offended and want to fight. And so it's futile to try to not get those emotions. But the emotions themselves are okay. It's okay to feel things, and it's very important to just let them come and also let them go. But what's most important is that you are aware of the emotions and how they color your thinking, and to not let the emotion-colored thinking trigger negative actions from you. If you do manage to get through this sort of controversy or debate being aware and without letting your negative emotions affect your actions, it's so much easier on you and all the people around you. It's so much easier to bring that light into the battlefield and that way to decrease the darkness. If enough people do it that way, the drama isn't able to get hold of anything and dies out naturally. So if you come across those kind of battlefield situations, just handle the facts and let all the negative emotional stuff come and go without giving them the opportunity to grab you and start tossing you around on the battlefield. Let's say someone you don't particularly like comes up to you and says, for example, "You heavily implied that I'm unfit to be a parent by joking around on Twitter about this and this and this, etc." You know, if that happens, don't go searching around their social media history to try to find something to prove that they're a hypocrite. Don't start accusing them of defaming you, etc. Instead, remember that we're all very similar conscious human beings. We're all friends traveling through space on this ball of dirt. How can you help this friend that has come to you and told you about these worries? By taking that kind of an attitude, you'd be a lot more open to admit that what you said was in bad taste, if that was the case. And if you really think that it wasn't, and your friend was just paranoid and looking to be offended, you'd want to politely help them understand that your intent was not to offend or imply anything. You'd want to stay in the facts and forget your ego that wants closure on who's right and who's wrong and all of that. That doesn't help your friend. If your friend has done something illegal or you really feel unsafe around them, it's of course usually best to get the law enforcement involved to make sure that everyone is safe. But especially then, it's critically important to stay in the facts. Don't let your emotions make you feel unsafe. Be rational about that kind of stuff. Just try to bring more light in the darkness. That way you might be able to help others understand that this is not a battlefield, but a beautiful planet full of beautiful people that could all be friends with each other. That sounds so beautiful and so cheesy, but it's true. We could all be friends. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope some of you found that useful. And by the way, I've got a regular Blender video coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. Bye.